Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Well, hello, everyone. Happy Friday, Junior. Y'all know I love Friday, Junior. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says Friday, Junior on it because it's something about getting into the weekend that is just amazing for me. Time to rest, rejuvenate, get a little sleep, little extra sleep. So, hi, and I hope you're doing well. Before I get into what I want to get into, I just want to shout out a local vendor here in South Los Angeles. Actually, two. I'm going to shout two out. Knits by Nat. These glasses are so cute, and they don't have glass in them because if you're like me, you need bifocals because you can't see. So you go to your optician and they pop in your prescription and you good. So I haven't done that yet, and that's why they look this way. But they are so cute. I feel like I look studious and stylish at the same time. Studious and stylish at the same time. House of Mosaic Candles. I also want to shout them out. That sign up there that says Crenshaw and Slauson, baby, that comes from them. Amazing artist. Tony is the name of the owner. So just super, super happy. Also, hello. I see people have joined us on YouTube and Facebook. How are you? My name is Nicole D. Vick. I am a doctoral candidate, among other things. And I'm really happy to have you here on this beautiful Friday, Junior. As y'all know, every second Thursday, I go live. And sometimes I go live on other times of the month. You know, I just do what I want to do. I'm at the age, I'm about to be 45 next Friday, baby. I do what I want to do. But typically every second Thursday, I go live. And sometimes I bring people on that are doing amazing things. Sometimes it's just me and you. We just be talking. However, I'm going to be here to give you some great content, introduce you to some fabulous people. And today, I am so excited to bring someone here that's amazing. But now I got to give you a little backstory, right? I got to go back. Last week, I talked about my journey towards healing. Been going through some things. I ain't going to talk about it because it's really not important to what we're talking about tonight. But just know things happen. And you know that if you have lived any amount of time on planet Earth, you know what it feels like to go through some things, to be in transition, to deal with disappointment. Okay. I was losing sleep. And I love my sleep. Sleep has never been an issue for me, but I could not sleep. I said, oh, something is wrong. And we need to get this together. Lots of anxiety, lots of tears, to the point that my eyelash lady was like, baby, what done happened to your eyelashes? What's going on? And I was like, crying. And so they all came out. Um, and a lot of self-doubt. And that's been the hardest thing, to have a good sense of self for all this time. I told you I'm about to be 45. And then all of a sudden it's like, maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. Maybe I really don't know what the heck I'm doing. What is the point of all of this? And it really ate at me. And I can say with 100% certainty that I am not 100% over it yet. I'm still working. I started therapy, did quite a bit of reflecting, and sought ways to get myself back on track. Now, earlier today on Instagram and TikTok, I said there are no mistakes in life. Everything happens for a reason. People come into your life for a reason. And so I had the pleasure of meeting someone who you will get to meet in a second, that was brought into my life to guide me, and to help me. So real quick before we get into it, I talk a lot about my ancestors, and as a matter of fact, let's see, over here above me is a photograph of my great grandmother and my great aunt, and it's there, just they're watching over me. This is my workstation, so they're literally over me, watching me and protecting me. I believe very strongly that we stand on our ancestors' shoulders. I believe that they are looking out for you and they are looking out for me. Now, this episode is going to be thought provoking. We might push some boundaries on your belief system. If you're open to that, please join us. If you're not, it's fine too. I just want you to be open minded as we have this conversation. So, today's guest is Felicia Myers Scarpati. She is a freelance writer and author with the gift of gab. And trust me, we have had some wonderful conversations. And she writes the stories that need to be told. Her writing focuses on topics that intersect with Blackness, from biracial conversations to spirituality, womanism, music, art, fashion, and children's stories. Her writing is a dedicated love letter, to her life experiences and the fantasies of what she would like the world to look like. And I think that's something we share. Like, what could the world be, right, if it acted and moved in the way that it should for everyone? She is not locked into one genre or style of writing. Her motto is no, that box was not built for me. And I am down with that. So I want to bring on my guest. Please join me in welcoming Felicia Myers Scarpati.
Hey girl, how you doing?
I am doing well. I'm really doing well.
The intro. Let me grab that for a minute, because my goodness, if that did not resonate with my soul and my spirit, and if it didn't do my spirit well.
See?
Absolutely. And like you, your ancestors are hanging above you. Mine are all behind me.
See? Just standing there.
This is what we do. This is how I pray. This is how I start my day. This is how I end my day. And to be perfectly honest, if I didn't have this altar, my sanity wouldn't be where I needed it to be. And that's the honest to God truth. We all go through things in life, heartbreaks, ups, downs, imposter syndrome. My goodness, I can't begin to tell you that battle of, do I really belong in this room? Am I where I'm supposed to be? And every time I get into that space or that place, I make sure to come back to this altar so that one of my ancestors say, child, please.
Right.
You are where you are supposed to be. If I can't get it from any place else, I know I can get it from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so glad to have you here. And it's so funny that you opened in that way, because I remember telling somebody recently, we were talking about something, and I said, and I did just like this. I said, my ancestors don't play about me. They don't. Okay. And I think the power in this is, and again, I know we're going to dig into this because I know, a lot of folks are Christians and I totally respect it. No issues with that. But I feel like these people, at least the ones that I know of, the ancestors that I'm aware of, right?
They were Christian.
Yes. But they also knew me personally,
there you go,
baby, until whenever they crossed over and they prayed for me. And of course, they probably prayed to God. Fine. But why not respect that and look to that for inspiration, and or messages or to your point, when you question yourself, well, am I where I'm supposed to be? And they say, girl, yes. Sometimes they're like, no, you're not supposed to be here.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about manifesting. People jump into this whole 369 thing has become very, very popular in journals in terms of scripting. The thing about it is you probably can manifest just about anything you ask for, but should you? There is the question when you are not dealing with your ancestors, should you? The universe, if you keep scripting, writing it out, making it clear, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. After a while, the universe is like, okay, I'm going to give you what you want so that you understand this is not what you need.
Yep.
So you can either walk straight into that brick wall with no guidance, or you can be still long enough to hear what your ancestors are telling you when they're telling you, no, that's not the road for you. No, that's not the way you need to do things. Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
When I was manifesting and decided to write this book, I kept writing in another journal, I want to be a best-selling author. I want to be a best-selling, and I must have wrote this 10,000 times. And then finally, I went to sleep one night, and my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, Charlie, showed up and said, Cookie. And real blunt, if I can be blunt on YouTube, he said, in my dream, he said, Cookie, you didn't write shit. So I was just like, oh, I guess I do need to write the book in order for you to make it a bestseller. Oh, do you see? And it was clear as day. That morning, I got up, and when I say everything poured out of me, like it had just been there all that time, but it was there. It was always in my head what I wanted to do. I had the images, I had the pictures, I had it. But I just wasn't putting paper to pen or pen to paper, or I wasn't typing it out like I needed to. So that morning, literally, I locked up in my bedroom, locked my husband out. I was like, look, I got stuff to do. Literally in 8 hours time, I had the majority of that book done.
That's amazing.
And it poured out like I needed it to.
And it is a beautiful journal. I know the producer has the imagery, but I'm gonna also put it up as well. Let's back up a little bit. How did we meet? I know we met on LinkedIn, but the funny thing about life is when you meet people that are supposed to be in your life, you often, I always have trouble. Like, how did we meet? It's almost like you were always there. So I'm like, I know it was LinkedIn, but why? Like, what was we talking about?
We were talking. Okay, there's a sister named Erin that's in Spain. And I started talking to Erin because I'm supposed to be going to Spain for a year. And I was trying to connect with as many Black people as I could before I got there. And I noticed Erin was in Spain. So I had inboxed her, and she and I started talking. Literally, we transferred each other's WhatsApp, and we had held a conversation.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, when you get here, here's my information, and we'll catch up and we'll link up. And we've been talking basically on LinkedIn ever since. Well, you were on her page one day, and I can't remember what the conversation was, but I added you to my page because of whatever the conversation was, I liked your response. And I had made it clear. My LinkedIn page I have a handful of people that I know personally. I've probably got 700 plus followers at this point in 2 months' time. I was very specific in who I wanted to link in with because, my friends know who I am.
Right.
I needed to stretch out and stretch my boundaries and get into a space that made it clear, I was trying to get into the same mindset with people in terms of the same direction I was trying to go in, whether they were people that already had their PhDs or EDDs. I knew what direction I wanted to go in, but I needed to have a new flair and a new flavor other than what I already had or the people that I already know, because they already know me and they're like, yeah, you're doing great. You're doing wonderful. But I needed a trail, and I needed a trail to follow that was different than the page that I was already on and the people that I already knew. So,
yeah. That's awesome.
And the energy with us was almost instant. Like when we talked on the phone, I was like, why do I feel like I've known her my whole life?
And to that point, so then I saw your number, or did I call you? Whatever happened, I saw Tennessee, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. My ancestors are from Tennessee.
Right. I remember that.
So crazy. Oh, we have a question.
What's the question?
It says, from what specific spiritual or religious tradition is your practice grounded or rooted? That's a good question. We were going to get to that. Go ahead. Let's do it now. And then we go to commercial because we already done.
Okay. Are we going to go to commercial first, or we're going to answer that?
No, you go that for, and then we can go to commercial.
Okay. Get ready, y'all. Okay. Santeria. Let me explain to you all what Santeria is. Santeria is the fusion of Catholicism and African spiritual traditions, Ifa. When we were brought here during the slave trade, obviously we could not practice our religion. So what we did, these very altars right here, things like this, Catholics were known for building altars to saints. So if you had an altar and it was built to St. Barbara, once they understood the stories of the Catholic saints, the Africans were like, that's Shango, that's Alegba, that's Oshun. The synchronicity between the Catholic saints and the African deities were so much of the same. We just basically, the fusion of the Catholic saint and the African Orisha became one. It was an easy synchronicity because, to be perfectly honest, and I suppose this is where I might piss a few people off, the Bible has been written in Africa since the dawn of time. The most plagiarized book on earth is the Bible. And we've been telling those very stories since the dawn of time. If you know the story of Noah's Ark, guess what, folks? It was written 2,000 years earlier in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Same story. But it was written in cuneiform and found in Mesopotamia. Somehow, some way, by the time it reached the Bible, it was Noah's Ark. Africa has been telling these stories since the dawn of time. But like anything else, when you start invading continents and invading other places, you start taking things as your own when you are the conqueror and changing stories. Surely you have to know when they burned the libraries down in Egypt, surely you had to know they took the books. They didn't just burn those books down, they stole them. So with my journey, I grew up Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic. And then when I was about 13, I got into a little tiff in class when we were talking about, it was around Easter time, and we were talking about the resurrection. I was like, so let me get this straight. Mary Magdalene was at the Last Supper, the crucifixion, the resurrection. She was at everything, and this wasn't his girlfriend. My teacher was a nun. What did I say that for? And her answer was, trouble like you would not believe. And her answer was, you're going to hell in a handbag. And I've always been a smart mouth, and I've always been quick with it. So my response to her was, you'll get there before I do, and save me a seat. And I hope it's a Gucci bag. Those were my exact words. Baby, you want to talk about somebody in the 8th grade that done caught the beat down of the century? But the thing is, I just met your snarky. That's all I did. You told me I was going to hell in a handbag, and I met your snarky.
Right.
And then I got a beating for that, literally. That was the turnoff of all turnoffs for me.
Yeah.
So that's when I started searching and looking for something that I could talk and that I could question and that I could understand. And when I found Santeria, it was in a time in my life where I was at great confusion, at a crossroad, racial identity, didn't know who I was, and this is just, I was like, this is it. This is my home. This was peaceful. This was the understanding of Catholicism. It was still Christian in base, but then it was taking me across the water. It was the Sankofa that I needed. And for the record, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the movie Sankofa, but the star of Sankofa, Oyefumike Ogunlano, is one of my teacher's godmother's friend's family. So this is what it just became what it was.
And real quick, we're about to go to commercial, but I don't know if you can see it. It'll be upside down on camera, but I have a tattoo and it is a Sankofa bird. I don't know how to get it. You can't see it, but it's right there.
Maybe try.
I can't look at what I got like that. There you go. It's upside down. It's right there.
Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead to commercial, and then we'll be right back. Part 2 of the interview.
radical faith and progressive believers come together, there's a place that's breaking all boundaries and embracing believers from all walks of life. Bullet and Flight Radio, where believers unite, boundaries break, and love triumphs.
Step away from the chaos and noise of your daily life. Experience moments for yourself that are calm, serene, and full of peace. A necessary respite to foster growth within you, because self-care should be luxurious. Luxor Noir.
Always proud to be a member of the Pyro Media Network. And I want to let you know we have a brand new notification system. Stay connected. Get direct notifications when we go live or upload by texting the word Blaze to 833-793-2423. Look at that. I'm like, y'all just got this technology going on. I'm like, what? I'm finally at that age now where I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Can somebody help me? And the funny part is usually the kids know, right? The kids be like, oh, what's that?
And my kids are watching tonight. Stanley, Nicholas, Trey. Well, Trey is actually performing in New York. Now, this is the crazy thing. I'm on your live tonight, and my son is performing in New York City in front of industry executives for the first time at the exact same time. He's on stage right now. Now, that is what you call manifesting, because I have been praying for this for him for I don't know how long, bring his career where he wants it to be, bring my career where I want it to be. And when he was talking about, he's like, wait a minute, when is your podcast? And when I told him, he's like, Ma, I just got to notice that I have to be on stage and I'm performing before industry. I was like, do you? This will be repeated on YouTube. No worries. You're doing what you need to do to get where you need to go. And I'm doing the same.
Exactly. Beautiful. It's funny how life aligns in that way.
Absolutely. It aligns in the craziest ways sometimes.
Yes, but always as it's supposed to. It's like, okay. And sometimes, and so here I go on my tangent, and sometimes you can't see it at the moment. Because you're hurt, you're scared, disillusioned, whatever it is, right? But and so here, okay, let me go down my road, because now I'm about to so you can be hurt, disillusioned. Oh my goodness, what's going on? But then you get these messages.
Right.
I had to be reminded of who I am. And I think I told you that, or at least I know I told my therapist. I said, I'm so upset. I said, but I had to remember some things. Nicole means victory over the people. Vick, victory.
Absolutely.
When I went to Ghana and I went to the naming ceremony, they named me Na Nortsu. And when I looked at what it meant, because they gave you a paper to tell you what it means, guess what it meant?
Victory.
It meant just as good as that. It meant all is well. I said, well, what's the problem? Why am I lamenting? Why?
Mm-hmm.
When all these messages.
I get it. My Yoruba name is Eshukemi Akinyemi. Daughter of Eshu. Daughter of Eshu, always with the strength, always has strength.
See?
Daughter of Eshu always has strength.
And I even find, because again, I know one of the, and this is actually a good segue to this question I'm going to ask you. I even find, and people may be like, well, Nicole, you're talking about manifesting E5 ancestors. Well, that's not Christian. But listen, I even find inspiration, guidance through gospel music, and it will be random. I was on YouTube watching some YouTube channel, and it was one of the Clark sisters was singing "Order My Steps in Your Word," which prompted me to go on YouTube and look for the actual recording. And one of the lines says something like, "While you are working, help me be still."
Absolutely. There, you can. The thing is, when you close your mind, you close your space to where the universe is guiding you for every step. It's like, I'm Christian, that's it, nothing more, nothing less. I'm not going to step out of anything else. Then you block yourself. And culturally, people need to understand, first of all, ancestors, venerating your ancestors is not a religious thing. It is a cultural thing.
Yes.
This is what we culturally do all across the continent of Africa. Africa is not a monotheistic continent. 52 countries, 53 countries. They don't all worship the same. Prior to colonization, they didn't worship the same. But the one thing that was the same from East Africa to West Africa, North Africa to South Africa, ancestral veneration. Please understand, we honor our ancestors all across the continent, but we're not the only ones. The oldest indigenous religions around the world honor their ancestors. Keep them close with them. Understand, I am who I am because I am Mariah Myers and Irene Scarpati's granddaughter. I belong to them, and I'm a part of that DNA. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So for you to think that they just pass, they die, and you're supposed to leave it at that is ridiculous. So then you're going to the cemetery to be sad, to cry, to whatever, but you're still honoring them. You're going to the cemetery to do it. I choose to do it in my home.
Right.
And I choose to talk to them because I'm done grieving.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I still miss them. There are days when I think about my father and I'm falling apart. But then that's the day when I'm thinking about him, and then Everlasting Love from Shaka Khan will come on out of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, Daddy, I know I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
I know I'm going to be okay.
That reminds me of Tabitha Brown when she says she sees dimes.
Yeah. Things that'll put you in that space. So that's what it's all about. But if you think this is not a Christian practice, you would be so wrong.
Yeah.
This is a cultural practice. Just think about your ethnicity. Stop worrying about everything else. Think about who you are culturally as an African.
Yeah.
There's a Bible on my ancestor altar. I promise there's a Bible right there because my ancestors whose names I know that I can call were Christian.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. So, but they also understood. Now, don't misunderstand me. The Black side of my family understood there was other forms of spirituality, but the Bible was what it was. But they didn't give up on all of their African culture and things of that nature. I tell people all the time, when we as Africans hear a drum talking to us, we automatically respond. It's like our body automatically just starts swaying because it's the rhythm of the drum, because it's a language. It's a conversation. And when you can understand that conversation is there for a reason, if you sit still long enough, you'll understand that drum is trying to carry you somewhere. It's how we ran from slavery.
Yes, right.
But the DNA, the mapping is still there. So I don't get into deep arguments and deep conversations with people when it comes to what Christianity is or what it isn't. Like Harriet said, I saved 1,000 slaves. I could have saved 1,000 more if they knew.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is. And again, I didn't no disrespect to anybody, but I really resonate with what you're saying, even just with the drumming. When I went to Ghana, to Accra, and we did the naming ceremony, we walked up, they were playing drums. I said, I could easily be here in Los Angeles at Leimert Park, which is the center of Black culture here, and they have the drum circle. It was exactly the same. And another thing that you just said stuck with me too. I have colleagues that work in DEI work, and all the anti-racism stuff. And they talk about how a lot of what we do is epigenetic. Like it's in, we can't separate it from ourselves. It's in us. So it's just so amazing to hear you speak on these things. You actually already answered the question. Like if someone was concerned about, is this outside of the realm of what I have been, raised to believe, but I want to try this journal. How can I make sure I'm not, how do I reconcile the two? You already kind of said it. So I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Remove the word religion from the process. Remove the word religion. It is your culture. If you are a descendant of Africa, and no matter how you go about it, if you are a descendant of a slave, you are a descendant of West Africa. I don't care if it's Nigeria, I don't care if it's Ghana, the Congo, Bantu, pick one, Mali, pick one.
Right.
You are a descendant of West Africa. This is your culture. Stop worrying about everything else.
Yep. Boom. So one thing I love most about this, I think the 369 was helpful. Like, let me write it. Let me keep writing.
It keeps you on track.
It does. And one of the questions I have for you, so I think for me, well, first I'll say this. Let's give the good news. So I manifested something in my journal. I will not say what it is on air, because I told you. And it's funny because here I go. I manifested. I wrote it down. Did all the things. And it took too long. I'm just going to say that. It took too long. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean, what the heck?
It's supposed to.
Right. But to me, I'm like, oh, well, they probably didn't, oh, well. So I kind of was like, well, and then sure enough, email came through and I was like, hey, look at that. All right. Right on time. So it does work because I did manifest it and it came through. But one of the questions I have for you, so I don't know if I did this right and you can tell me. I found myself, I don't know, for those 30 days, should I pick one thing and just stick to that for the whole 30 days? Should I pick a group of ancestors and stick with them for the whole 30 days? Or is it fine for on Monday, I want a brand new car. And then on Tuesday, I want world peace. Like, I don't know.
Okay. There's no set way. In some of the journals, they say pick one thing and stick to that and do that for 30 days straight and you'll manifest it. And then others will say, kind of go with the flow. When I say write the 3 ancestors down per day, it can be the same 3 people that you're talking to every day, or it could be something different every day. When I wake up, some days I need to talk to my aunt every day. Other days I need to talk to my grandfather. Other days I need to talk to my grandmother. It just depends, or, if it's the same people or the same person you need to talk to every day, just keep writing that person's name. There's no set rule for this. There's no set guideline. Like I said, this is when I wrote in the back of the book, when I said this is not a magical book, it's not a magical book. It's just to keep you focused on what it is that you're thinking about. And instead of being all in your head and can't get where you need to go because it's all jumbled up in your head and you're stressing, you're aggravated, you're upset. This one done broke your heart. This one done hurt your feelings. You done lost your job. When you get into that space, that's when I start. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm having a day. This is what's happening. Okay, this is what I'm trying to manifest. I want this, this, and this. I need that, that, and that. And I need it, in this time frame. So I just write. I tend to stick with one thing at a time. Okay. Because if I start jumping all over the place, I don't multitask well. So if I know I don't multitask well, I don't need to be trying to manifest 10 things at one time. I kind of need to get here. Let me focus on this. Oh, I got it. Okay. Moving on. That's why I gave you the first 30 days. And then by the time you understood what you were doing, let's go into those next 30 days because you already have the instructions. Do with what you want to do at that point.
Right. So awesome. And I love that you have that morning gratitude where it's a kind of a way to sort of ground yourself, right? 3 things
you woke up. People are like, well, I don't know what I should be grateful for.
You
woke up. Let's start right there. I literally had someone tell me this. I don't really have anything to be grateful for. Did you wake up this morning? Well, yes, but then be grateful. Unless you don't want to be here.
Right.
Unless you don't want to be here. And don't keep saying that too often because the universe will accommodate that too.
Right. Or did you get in the car and you turned it on and it turned on? I mean, it could be.
Did you have something to eat this morning? Did you have something in the refrigerator? Something, anything?
Right.
I don't know. Something had to make you smile. And if it didn't, that's where you have to dig deeper. You have to go deeper inside. If you're waking up every day and you can't find something to be happy about, then there's nothing my book is going to be able to do for you. At this point, you really do need to get some therapy and a different level of spiritual guidance because you're so broken on the inside.
Yeah.
If you can say you can't find something to be grateful for, that's pretty tough.
Yeah. And that's fair. I think that's an accurate assessment anyway. Like, that calls for a little bit more guidance. Then you have your 3 daily affirmations. I love that. And then the 3 ancestors. And then you go into the manifesting. I think it's amazing. We done ran through our time, ma'am. So, well, let's ask you this, and then I'll put the book back up. What's next for you?
This is a 3-part series. This journal is the first in 3. So the second journal will do a little bit more following up in building the ancestor altar placement. I'll go into a little bit more detail on Ifa, what it is and what it isn't. Some people may be interested, some people may not be, and that's okay. That's okay. But these books are all, it's a building process. We start here, and my goal is to decolonize that mind, break those chains. And if you can't take the Sankofa journey physically, if you really don't have the money to get to Africa, then we can do this mentally and spiritually right here and find your way home when you can. And I think my biggest thing is African Americans, when we get 2 cents or we get $2, the first thing we want to do is run to Europe. Why? Why? Can we get to the continent and figure out who we are? Because they've already told you everything about Europe in those history books. I can assure you the Vatican looks just like the pictures. Trust me, it does. Trust me. If your first trip, when you have a couple of dollars, is Europe, you need to understand how colonized your mind is, because you've already got it made up in your mind that Africa couldn't possibly be as beautiful as Europe. And it is, if not more so.
Amazing.
So I've not been to Ghana yet, but I've been to Oshobo. I've been to Nigeria. There are other places equally as beautiful. And you have to understand, you need to start at home. Yes. And then figure out everything else. You know, you want to go to France to eat, you want to go to Italy to shop. I get all that. But we as a people, we need to start dealing with us in here. And I know we have to wrap it up, but the one thing I need people to understand, and this is the thing about ancestral veneration. Ancestral veneration is believed to ensure that harmony and balance is maintained in the community. I'm going to say this one more time. Ancestral veneration is believed to ensure that harmony and balance is maintained in the community.
Wow.
Our communities are off all around this country. Our children are out of control. And we need to find a way to get them back in line. And if it's not back in the church or the traditional way that you grew up in the church, you're going to have to find some spirituality. And if you can't get it through the ancestors, we're in some trouble. Yeah. We're in some real trouble right now.
Absolutely. There was a question. Let's see. What was the question? What's the difference between asking the ancestors for what you want versus asking God for what you want?
There's no difference. And I guess I can answer that pretty easily for you too, because I knew that question was coming.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like the same thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The ancestors let me see. First of all, I need to put my glasses on. Okay. You look at the ancestors as intermediaries between the living and God. It plays a crucial role in maintaining the community and well-being. Is there anything that you can't ask God? Of course not. Of course not. And just so you know, in African spirituality, there is one God. There are not multiple gods. God is known in Yoruba as Olodumare, God, the omnipotent one and only. When you're dealing with your ancestors, it's just more of a personal understanding, a personal feeling. I guess that's the best way for me to put it. It's a personal feeling. You know, if your grandmother was alive and you're going to your grandma and you've got that broken heart, you know, grandma got that hug, Medea got that hug, mama got that hug. That's going to tell you, baby, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And it's a warming, familiar feeling because you know the person, you feel their DNA, you know their smell, you know grandma's feeling, her smell, her perfume, you know it. So when you're asking your grandmother to fix it or to remove that hurt from your heart, it's not that God can't do it. It's just more of a personal understanding between you and your ancestors that, Mama, my heart is broken.
Yeah.
You're not here anymore, but I'm hurting.
Yep.
And she's saying to you, baby, it's going to be okay. And if you sit still long enough, if you're quiet, you can almost smell her perfume or whatever it was, that smell that made her who and what she was. And there's going to be a watershedding of those tears. But you know, he calls the next day. My grandmama told me it was going to be okay. Go on, man.
Right. Bye.
Bye. Go on, man. So yes, God answers all of our prayers, no question. Right. Our ancestors give us what is called familiar.
Yes. I heard Iyanla Van Zant characterize it, and it's so funny. Again, once you start opening your mind to certain things, a video that she did about Ifa, and I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but
right.
she talked about it too, and she was like, "No, that's God," and you guys call these people angels, but in Africa, the angels are your ancestors. Like
the angels are Orisha. That we refer to the angels as Orisha. Our ancestors are. Our ancestors are ancestors. And of course, they can be angels too. But it's all the same. When people are like, well, it's not God. You don't believe in Jesus Christ. Sure, I do. God on earth is Olodumare. Now, the difference is, did we come with original sin? No. There are some differences.
Right.
So the stories are the same. God, Olodumare. Arunmala. God on earth, Olodumare. The stories are very similar. Take away a great deal of the guilt and take away the one thing Africans that don't have that all other religions seem to have, or not really, Christians are the only ones that seem to have this place called hell. Africans don't have that. We don't go to hell. If you didn't do what you were supposed to do in this lifetime, you're born again through your bloodline. You recycle. Your soul will come back through your bloodline. Now, if you've done something malevolent enough, can your soul be destroyed? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But this lingering in hell, this 7 burning layers of fire and some more stuff, because you did something, but maybe break a commandment that's not unforgivable.
Right.
We don't go to this place called hell. Your soul is recycled. It comes back again. It is born again through your bloodline. You don't just show up again someplace else. You don't come back as a butterfly. You're born again through your bloodline because you didn't do what you were supposed to do here. You didn't finish your time here. Maybe you died too soon. We believe in reincarnation, but the reincarnation is through your bloodline.
And what's so funny for me? I honestly believe hell is here. Heaven and hell can be here. There are people living today that are living their own personal hell. So right. I don't know. I just kind of feel like, right. Yeah, I don't know, but that's where I am.
Yeah, and there was a guilt trip that was handed down to us during slavery. I tell people all the time, when you really want to have this conversation, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 18. We'll talk about that on another day. But keep reading that one. I want you to read it and read it and read it until you can't read it anymore.
We might have to bring you back because this is a lot.
It's a lot. It is a lot. It is a lot.
But I want to thank you for being here with me tonight. You guys, please pick up a copy of this journal. So we're going to close out. Miss Felicia, we done talked all the way through this. So I want you all to please pick up a copy of the journal. It is on Amazon. Is there anywhere else they can pick it up from?
Right now it's on Amazon.
Okay, so it's on Amazon. It's beautiful. You will be inspired. And so we're going to wrap on up. Please visit my website, www.nicoledvick.com. I have all sorts of things on there. I am a speaker. I have written 2 books myself. I have all sorts of things going on. You can find all of that on my website. I have 2 books, Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson, and Push Through, 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times, which is also a journal. And, follow me on social media. I'm on the TikToks, the LinkedIn, the Instagram, the Facebook. I'm on all the things. So and make sure you come back next Thursday. Either I'll be live like this, or I'll be on there on audio only, but you're gonna hear from me. Okay. So thank you again, Felicia, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it.
We're gonna close out. Y'all have a good night.